"No sir, I will not abandon my tank. My gun is still working and I will get them." This was said by Second Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal during the Battle of Basantar on the 16th of December 1971 while bashing the Pakistani pattern tanks of the 13 Lancers, making history. Remember this tank battle forever. Before I start this video, if you have not yet liked and subscribed to my channel regarding military history, please do it. Today I'm going to talk to you about Second Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal, a name that is etched in the history of armored warfare forever. Second Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal was born on the 14th of October 1950 in the family of Brigadier M.L. Khetrapal. Brigadier M.L. Khetrapal was actually from the Corps of Engineers, and young Arun Khetrapal decided to follow the footsteps of his father. After his schooling, he joined the prestigious National Defence Academy, eventually joining the Indian Military Academy. He was commissioned as a second lieutenant in June 1971 in the 17th Poona Horse, a unit which was known for its glorious history in armored warfare. After joining A Squadron of the 17th Poona Horse, Second Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal was assigned to be the commander of a Centurion tank. Now, a Centurion tank is actually a World War II era British tank which normally has a 17-pounder gun or a 20-pounder gun or a 105mm L7 rifled gun. But unfortunately, in the year 1971, Centurion tanks were becoming of vintage quality to fight against modern Chinese and Pakistani tanks that were available in the battlefield. The Pakistani army already had the latest American M48 pattern tanks, and the Centurion tank was no match for Pakistani armor. As war broke out with Pakistan on the 3rd of December 1971, with a few months of service, Second Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal and his Centurion tank, which was affectionately called as the Famagusta, was deployed in the Battle of the Shakargarh sector near the Basantar river. The entire 17th Poona Horse was under the command of Lieutenant Colonel Anuj Singh, a hero himself, and the squadrons of these tanks was assigned to support the operations of the 47th Infantry Brigade in the Battle of the Basantar River bridgehead. Now, on the 15th of December, elements of the 47th Infantry Brigade, including the 3rd Grenadiers, had crossed the Basantar River, established a bridgehead, and now was spotting Pakistani tanks from the 13 Lancers closing in on them. Immediately, they had asked for armor support from the 17th Poona Horse, and the Centurion tanks of the 17th Poona Horse raced across to help the 47th Infantry Brigade bogged down in the fighting. On the morning of the 16th of December, A Squadron from the 17th Poona Horse had arrived, including the tank of Second Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal. Though the commander of the Famagusta Centurion tank was Second Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal, but with him was the driver, Sawar Prayag Singh, the radio operator, Sawar Nand Singh, and the main gunner, Sawar Nathu Singh. As Second Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal spotted the Pakistani tanks closing in towards them, he and the other tanks of A Squadron opened fire on them. The Pakistani tanks started exploding in the distance, and Second Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal led his tank forward into the hell of the bloodbath and the burning coffins of steel. While he was taking off the tanks, the Pakistani tanks, anti-tank guns, RCL guns, including artillery fire, was concentrated upon his advancing tank, but he kept on firing, kept on destroying the tanks. He was seen by the enemy overrunning their defenses, crushing them under his heavy fire, destroying the Pakistani tanks like decks of cards. The Pakistani 13 Lancers, still trying for a breakout, launched 2 squadrons of their tanks to destroy these advancing Centurion tanks, and this lone Centurion tank of Second Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal was the only defender against these 2 advancing Pakistani squadrons. He started taking them down, and Major A. Chami from the Pakistani 13 Lancers was astonished to see how their own advanced M48 pattern tanks were being destroyed by this vintage World War II era Centurion tank. All of the tanks, including infantry, concentrated their fire on this lone Centurion tank, and eventually the tracks of this tank was hit. The Famagusta of Second Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal was immobile. Another Pakistani tank pulled up from the distance and was just about 100 yards away from the Famagusta when 2 of their tank guns were moving towards each other. But the Famagusta was the one to fire first, destroying this pattern tank, blowing it up in flames. Lieutenant Colonel Anuj Singh and his squadron commander ordered Second Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal on the RT to abandon his tank. But Second Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal got back at them and said that he still had his main gun working and he would keep on destroying them unless they started fleeing. Unfortunately, a Pakistani imported pattern tank in the distance opened fire and damaged the Centurion tank extensively. Shrapnel, fire, and the explosion killed Sawar Nan Singh inside the tank and had wounded Second Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal grievously. Sawar Nathu Singh and Sawar Prayag Singh had managed to evacuate out from the tank, but they couldn't save the dying Second Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal. Pakistanis eventually closed in on their position and captured these two tank crewmen, including Second Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal, who was now dead fighting this gallant battle, all with his lone Centurion tank. The Famagusta was also captured, and on the 17th of December, after this declaration of ceasefire on the Western Front, Second Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal's body, along with these two tank crewmen and the Famagusta, was repatriated back to India. For his gallant services in the war, Second Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal was posthumously awarded the Paramveer Chakra, the highest gallantry award in the Indian Armed Forces. His father, Brigadier M.L. Khetrapal, was also honored by invitation in Pakistan by Brigadier Khwaja Muhammad Nasir in Sargodha. And on the last day of his stay in Pakistan, when Brigadier M.L. Khetrapal was returning back home, that is the day when Brigadier Khwaja Muhammad Nasir clearly approached him and said that he is the man who took out Second Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal. He was the man responsible for his death, and like Second Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal, he was also a soldier. This was the bond between fighting soldiers on two different sides, with the Pakistani army honoring an Indian Army Second Lieutenant and his family. This is an exceptional part of history which marks the glorious story of a hero like Second Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal for our country.